The New York Rangers are truly having one of the worst seasons that I can really remember as a Rangers fan in general. I mean, this team has been so bad this season. And, the worst part is, honestly, is the fact that you could argue, the Rangers got off to a pretty good start this season, looking like one of the better teams in the entire NHL, kind of doing what, I think most of us Rangers fans could have expected of this team, which is, doing pretty good in the regular season there, starting off good. And then obviously we hit that brick wall there, fall flat on our face, and things just have continued to decline and decline and decline ever since then, really. So obviously having that good start, then falling off really quickly and things, not turning around at all has been really just frustrating and disappointing for many, many Rangers fans. And with the losses continuing to pile up, it definitely seems like there is unfortunately a pretty good chance at this point that we do not see the New York Rangers, let alone win a playoff round, actually make the playoffs, which in my opinion would be a complete and utter disappointment. But that's what seems like is the most likely scenario at this point there. I would definitely say there's a much better than 50% chance of us seeing the New York Rangers not make playoffs than actually be able to make playoffs. So I really just kind of wanted to talk more about this New York Rangers team and kind of the way things have been going with this franchise and organization, how things have been kind of playing out, because with the way things are going right now, this season is a complete lost cause, and there definitely are some little positives and stuff like that can come out of a season like this, but for the most part, it has truly been one of the worst seasons in New York Rangers history that I can truly remember. Now, obviously, I'm only 21 years old, so there's only so many years that I can actually remember of the New York Rangers, but this is truly one of, if not the worst, kind of at least stretches of play that I have seen as a Rangers fan in my lifetime. And after watching one of the more recent kind of games there against the Tampa Bay Lightning where the Rangers did lose 6-2 in the end, I think this has just really been a kind of deflating, run of play for this team and some of these players. I think most of the guys on the ice there just look lifeless at moments, play with kind of little energy, little kind of just eagerness to really go out there and try and get that win. I think that's something that's very disappointing is we're not just seeing losses. We're seeing, big losses by, quite a few goals. We're seeing some terrible, terrible performances. We're seeing a major lack of effort. And really, overall, just a massively kind of disappointing run of play from this team that has not just been, a couple weeks or a month and a half. It's gone on way too long now at this point, and it doesn't seem like it's going to end anytime soon. It does seem like this season is probably going to play out, somewhat close to the way things are going right now, unless we do see something kind of really, really crazy change. And in my opinion, maybe we do, maybe we don't see that. I'm not quite sure. And I think the big move and the only kind of really big move that you can make mid-season right now with the way things are going is firing head coach Peter Laviolette. And I have talked about in the past that I do not think Laviolette is the main problem. I think Laviolette is actually a very good coach. And I do think he is one of the kind of, upper echelon coaches, you could say, in the entire NHL. He's got that winning pedigree, having won a Stanley Cup as well as making the NHL Finals 2 other times with 2 different NHL teams as well. So making the NHL Finals 3 different times to 3 different teams and winning it once. And he also has won the AHL Championship as well, getting himself a Calder there. So this is a guy who's obviously won at the AHL level. He's won at the NHL level. He's made the finals in the NHL 3 different times with 3 different teams. He's had a lot of playoff success. He's had a lot of success just in general while being a head coach at the pro level. So I don't think this is a guy who necessarily is the main problem. You saw him take this team all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals with, not a great roster that he kind of had to work with. I mean, it was a good roster, and I think it was one of the better ones, but was it truly one of the kind of best built rosters for the playoffs there? I would definitely say not. And he was still able to lead this New York Rangers team all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second time in 3 seasons. So I think he's done a pretty good job there in his first season, take his Rangers squad all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. This season obviously has not gone out very well, and I don't think it's all the blame on him. I definitely think some of the blame should be on him, but not all of it, not most of it. So, maybe we do see Laviolette get fired. I think at some point, you have to see one of these kind of really big changes happen, and it can't just be, trading away more players, and I don't think we're going to be adding in a star guy. So maybe we do see, Laviolette fired at some point. And like I said, I don't necessarily think that is the, best decision or kind of the best kind of long-term decision for this Rangers team, but something has to happen. You have to have some kind of shakeup here before, you really lose a lot of the players in the locker room and things start to fall off even more. Although, it feels like we've hit rock bottom and unfortunately, days go by and game goes by, and it seems to be found a new rock bottom every single time. So at the end of the day there, something has to change. This team has been playing just an insanely awful hockey, considered what the expectations were going into this season being a pretty much playoff lock. So I think something has to change there, and I don't see Chris Drury, the general manager, getting fired midseason. Maybe this upcoming offseason, although I don't think it's going to happen. Although I do kind of want to see Chris Drury fired, and I would like to see new management come in there, get his kind of guys in there, maybe some of his scouts, and just kind of switch things up there, and maybe try and get some better development coaches in the building as well, which would not be the worst idea in my opinion. Although we have had some prospects pretty much over like this season and last season, start to make a little bit of an impact at the NHL level. So maybe we see things kind of turn around a bit there for the Rangers development. But I do think we need to see some pretty massive changes, not just with this kind of roster and stuff like that and the way it's built, adding in more toughness and, just better players overall. But I also think we need to see maybe a couple moves here on the front office side of things there now. Maybe that is getting rid of Chris Drury, or possibly just getting rid of some other kind of behind the scenes people there that we don't, always see kind of every day. But, some of those people making those big decisions, I definitely think some of them need to be let go. Chris Drury definitely could and possibly should be one of those people, although I don't think necessarily he's going to be the one who, gets let go and gets fired. Although I kind of, like I said, want to see it happen. I just have this feeling that I think, Chris Drury is not going to be let go, and maybe we do see, Peter Laviolette, whether it is during this season or possibly this is coming off season, get fired and kind of be that scapegoat there, and maybe that does happen, maybe it doesn't, but like I've continued to say, I don't think, Chris Drury is the complete problem, but I definitely think he is a pretty major problem with the way this roster has been built, and him, having multiple offseasons to try and fix some of these issues and problems that we have had for so long. He has failed to do so, so I think it is time to move on from him, although, like I said, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Laviolette is more likely by a decent amount to get fired, although, I definitely could be wrong, and I would not be against that. I also don't see a way of us really probably keeping Laviolette around. If we do fire Chris Drury there, I'd imagine we'd, obviously see the new general manager come in and probably want to pick his head coach. So my guess would be if we do see Chris Drury go, Laviolette will be gone as well. And as of recording this video, the Rangers are still quite a few points back of that second wildcard team right now, the Ottawa Senators. But, the worst part is there are still 4 teams in between us, the Rangers, and the Ottawa Senators, who are that second wildcard team as of recording this video. So it's not like, the Rangers are just kind of fighting with a couple teams there. There are the 2 wildcard teams and then 4 teams in between the New York Rangers and obviously that wildcard spot, as well as a couple teams just kind of right behind the Rangers there who are not, too far back at all either. So the Rangers are fighting with quite a few teams for those, 2 wildcard spots in the Eastern Conference. We are quite a ways back right now. 2-8 in their last 10 as of recording this video before that Florida Panthers game, which very well could make these things look even worse on a 3-game losing streak. So really and truly, this season is looking pretty much lost at this point there, which is very disappointing to say, in my opinion. Anyways, that's going to do it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, definitely hit that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content. And also, definitely comment down below your thoughts on the New York Rangers as a whole, and who do you think should be fired? Peter Laviolette and or Chris Drury? Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next one. Let's go Rangers.